Popular YouTube acts like Sargon of Akkad, ContraPoints, Crot and T, and even alt-hype tend to act in a way like a PhD in analytic philosophy, or maybe just a statistics guru. All of this goes hand in hand with preening and trying to be the better, more credible intellect. Some have described this as pseudo-intellectualism. But what is the point if everyone's interest in sound scholarship is just as good as anyone else's? And how can one lack in-depth knowledge, or critical understanding, if postmodern philosophy can be anything? Things boil down as a language game, and you can learn anything from anyone. It's very popular among these YouTube types to say, college is worthless, and that you could do it yourself by buying your own books. But do you see what this trap implies? It implies consumers admitting their fate under capitalism. Instead of becoming the merchant or the intellect above capitalism, one becomes a part of it. There is no aristocracy if everyone is a practicing consumer. The new high school credential is higher education, because the world would seem better if the white middle and lower classes would just be educated and start reading The New Yorker. Did it work? I think it just created an entire culture thug generation, or ideologues, and as well as a new group of consumers. People buy books not to read them, but to possess them, like Infinite Jest. By possessing a library, one sure looks like a big brain nibba, and totally makes one look like he's above those lame old college professors, right? This upper middle, or middle to lower class intellectualism, is becoming a hoarder disorder. Something like when consumers, or just dumb people in the bell curve, collect stuff after stuff till they die. You see, none of this jargon I am spewing is meaningful or clear in logic. Rather, it's just something for me to preen as an intellect, so I can roleplay as one and achieve a sexual partner who is compatible with my so-called brain level, exactly what John Stuart Mill wanted. Whites tend to do this all the time, and so do Asians. But this obsession with the STEM degree is not a sincere form of high intelligence, but rather parroting MGTOW points of hating the liberal arts and going for something that makes a lot of money. The economy is unpredictable, and no college degree can predict what will make money. It's all about class, not application of the degree. Those who argue that college is worthless are the biggest hypocrites, because they think supposedly that they have such a high intelligence level that they really don't need a college degree in the first place. They act like higher educated individuals, only to shoot down those who have a master's degree or PhD over them. And if they have said degrees, they will make up a story about how smart they are and they really don't need it. Intellectualism is a form of hoarding, because all this information, from Plato to Shakespeare to noise rock to geography and to strange bloggers nobody cares about, is itself eclectic. Instead of learning about sex from Rushvi's game, I can watch Barney the Dinosaur and learn my pickup lines from him. Why? Because it's just as important than learning it from the masters. As we grow older, we lose brain cells and get closer to death. Rather than becoming progressively smarter in our 50s, we are declining towards an unhealthy death. So all the video games we played in our teenage years don't add up to anything useful that will make us better in our middle ages, because we are collecting thoughts and storing them like learning a new language. Because intellectualism, like hoarding, is a form of preening and consuming, or just a delusional anxiety disorder. They say that kids with Asperger's or idiot savants are basically intellectual hoarders, with no real substance in how they convey their own language. But when some actual idiot normie disciplines me and says, "Don't you see? We are all the same and have the same intellectual capacity," is where society is going nowhere. This is not only egalitarian rhetoric, but capitalist rhetoric to sedate us as obedient consumers. If I can do this, she can do that, so as long as someone makes money and the gears of capitalism keeps turning. The problem is capitalism, because its culture has created brain-dead consumers out of us. You are not popular on YouTube for being an original and authentic intellectual. Rather, you are only popular for spewing thoughts other people agree with in their own echo chambers. This is product reassurance for the consumer. We are not learning anything from randomly discovering new things on Wikipedia or tuning into YouTube or Discord for our social surrogate time, but we are obedient consumers to a capitalist system that are using us like sheep for every day of our lives. A pretentious YouTube intellect is not what he seems, but a consumer collecting thoughts and telling others he wants to hang out with consumers too.